Hello, I've got an actual panel here we've made for a customer and I'm about to wire it up for them, so I thought let's shoot a video and you can see what goes into a customer's panel. So this is how they arrive. What you'll notice on the front is, first of all, we've a number of these round discs which we'll be using to locate the circuit boards that go inside. With a protective cover with the fascia, so when the customer sees it and removes the top, he'll have a panel looking something like this. And if we look, the sides have a locating screw in to keep the two halves of the clamshell type box together. Let's tip this out. And a plumb. Here's the panel, the front and the rear, which I'll be using to attach the buttons and switches. The buttons and LEDs, sorry. Let's take the other side. Pull that screw out. There we go. Now it's all accessible. It slides apart. And there's the outer frame. Now I think what I'm going to do on this panel, because I understand how it's going to be used, I'm going to replace the power switch with a socket, with a plug and socket, some of which I think I have over here. So I'll attach a plug and socket, which means they'll connect this and inject power through that into the panel. And for this, normally on the multi-panel, what you would do is you'd connect your power here, run it through to your layout power. But I think this socket would it would benefit from that. I'll just nip that in for now. So the rear would have that sort of affair, and then if it was wanted to be moved or removed, you can simply unplug the connector. So if we look at the panel, we can see the design here. We have, what do we have? Let's have a look. Let's take the top, and I'll use the top as a work surface. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sets of points, and they're all singles. This is a shunting puzzle. Let's pull this off. There we go. Prepared for you, nicely coloured. Steve's done a lovely job with the laser. So if I keep my plan, I can see what I'm doing. Let's just check I've got this the right way up. Yes, it looks good. Looks fine to me. So the panel this way up, I'll drop it onto the surface of the box, and I've got the lip gives me a nice little surface to work from, and it also means that when the buttons push through, I don't have to worry about them hitting anything underneath. Okay, let's find some buttons. Take a button pack from here as well and a few from there and see what we can do. Primarily I want the screws out. These will make life so much easier for us. There we go. So if I drop a button in, hopefully it's in shot. Yes, let's bring it here, it's easier for me to work on. So let's take a screw, pop it in, a second, So you don't fall asleep too fast, I'll speed this section on and you can see how it looks when I've finished. So 5 minutes later, I've all the buttons in place, looking good. What I need to do now is consider how I'm going to mount the multi-panel. I think I'll do it like this. I could do it to the side and have the name visible, that would work as well. And what we need to do is look at the holes on the top, which we would use, we've labelled them. These are the spacers for mounting the circuit board. So if I push them out, find a big enough screwdriver. 1, 2, 3, 4. I normally use 2 per column. So the basic idea is I'll glue that down and attach it like so. But what I'll do is I'll fit 2 and just raise it so the screws have got something to attach to. So let's grab 4 more. Welcome back. So I've tidied up the mounts. I've grabbed my servo mounting screws, which I tend to use for mounting servos. I think that'll do nicely, and I've increased the hole a little bit to give it bite to the thread diameter, but not too much. And what I'm going to do now is position these, mark it, and PVA them down. So first, let's grab some pen or pencil. Now this originally was a Mark I starter kit, but the person that bought it, I found out, bought it for his club and he was donating it, and I thought, that's a nice cause. So hopefully they'll find a little surprise when they open it and find that I've upgraded them to a Mark II or a plug and play. Let's drop a bit of PVA on. Whoops. Now there are all sorts of mounting hardware for circuit boards, but what I don't want to do is drill through the panel and have it stick out on the other side. It'll ruin our wonderful artwork, which is why I'm choosing to mount it from the rear. Final drop of PVA. Like so. On the dot, and we're in. So what I'm going to do now is leave that to dry. Well, I ended up leaving it overnight for the base of the foot of the PCB to dry on the PVA, and I've just finished securing it to them. So I've used a servo mounting screw. They're not tight, they're just nipped up. There's no load on this, it's just to secure it out of the way. Another consideration when you're building a panel is by attaching the multi-panel to the lid rather than at the bottom of the base, it means that if I ever lift it out, all of the components come out as one, so I'm not twisting or bending wires. Okay, for the next part, let's hook up the LEDs. So for that, I'm going to want a pile of LEDs and probably a screwdriver to push them down. These are a push fit. So let's see how this goes. So I've got the LEDs here. And what I'm going to do by convention, you see each of the points has 2 LEDs. On the LED cable, each cable has a pair of LEDs. So the one with the black line I'm going to put on the side of the main line, or where there's a straight basically. There's no reason for that other than I want to be consistent. So looking at this, all of the straight lines are on the horizontal plane, so if I can work out, let's turn it around as well. Oops. we can see, maybe it helps with the panel, the bottom row is to have the black line, and this row here which lines up is the black line, and the top one is the black line there. Okay, I keep it in the same orientation. So I'll take the first LED, this is the wrong way round, so this is this one. For example, black line goes to the bottom side. Push it in, and using a screwdriver carefully just slot it into place. It's designed to be an interference fit, so once you push it in you shouldn't really need to secure it with any other material such as a glue or anything. Slot it in and we're done, so don't push too hard. And this first one, which is over here, I'll leave loose for a second. Let's just push the LEDs in. So there's the final LED. Brilliant. That's fine with that. So I'll mark on this channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the customer will know. And now all we have to do is follow our plan. So number 1 is this guy, and I'm going to plug it into the LED output with the black lead towards the outer edge, channel 1. Channel 2, again following the same convention, and in. I don't know why, I always seem to end up with the camera in just the wrong place and I can't quite see. Done. 3. And 4. There. Brilliant. LEDs wired up. So let's attach some buttons. Oh, let's have a look first. There we go, we can see the LEDs in. We'll have these running in a minute. So all I need for the buttons is to ensure that when I attach the cable, it matches the same channel as the LED. So if I press number 1, I'd like the LEDs at number 1 to go as well. Doesn't matter which way round this goes because there are no crossovers. But I'm going to, by convention, put the black lead towards the outer edge, number 1. You'll see in a minute I'll tidy all of these wires up and it'll it's quite a game changer. 6, bottom middle. To number 11. Now, as that's a longer run, I'll go underneath. Okay, I think that's initially wired for a test, so we can give it a go. Whilst I was waiting for the PVA to dry, I've attached a lead to the customer's power plug, pos and neg, though polarity doesn't matter, but at least I've got them going. And this will attach to the multi-panel processor on the screw terminals, and then here's how they connect it. Pretty straightforward, on and off. I just thought that was a nice little thing to do. I do it for my panels, though it's not supplied on all of them. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hook up some power and test it. So I need to get this lead into here. So let's open these connectors. Will this reach? Yes. Orientation doesn't matter. Knit them up slightly. Don't over tighten these, you'll only break it, and it doesn't need it. And to get power into the box, let's put this on. So I'm going to push that through. Woohoo! And that'll give me something to stand this on the top of the panel, like so. One hand is not enough. There we go, camera in. Excellent. So I've got this on, ready to go. Lay that on the top. And on the plug, what I'm going to do, excuse me, I'll attach a PP9 battery just for testing. I know it's 9 volts, but if something bad happens and I make a short circuit, there's not enough juice there to give us any cause for concern. I'm not switching amps. I just want to see that I've wired up all of the right LEDs to the right buttons, and that'll be enough just to prove that it works. Plug it in. There's no on-off switch on that. Connect one to one side of the battery, and now we should have some lights, which we don't. Why don't we? When I said take care wiring the terminal, what I meant was take care wiring the terminal. Look at that. Oh gosh, battery's disconnected. Let's get it into the open part of the terminal, not the closed. So I'll leave this on the video and you can see it warts and all. I've probably made more mistakes than most people. Though somehow I'm still here to talk about it. There we go, that's on. So, plug in, power on, power on. Yes, look at that. Everything's flashing. There's a little bit of wood in that. There we go. So, let's just test. Each of the channels I have are in the right place. In other words, I want this button to operate these LEDs. Yes, pass, 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 pass. And let's have a a customer-centric view of this. Now it's looking good. Notice on the panels we are diffusing against the surface of the fascia, so that we're not trying to illuminate the room, we're just trying to indicate the point position. Look at that, doesn't it look beautiful? I hope you'll agree. I think it does. Steve at KS Laser is quite the laser guru. He knows exactly what he's doing and he knows how to go about it. And after 14 months of trial and error, we've come up with something we know works every time. And if the customer chooses to power this off, they'll turn the layout off and the power to the supply will go, or unplug it. Simple. If I'm out of breath every time I come back from an edit, it's because I've just been running up and down several flights of stairs to get parts. I said I'd tidy up the inside, so let's have a look at this final part of the job. Can you see how everything comes off and it's attached to the top? So it's very straightforward to work on. So to tidy this up, I use obviously tie wraps with a self-adhesive anchor. So I'll just glue this down and it'll hopefully make quite a difference to what's going on. So let's have a look. What I basically want to do is something like that. And what can I do with these? Something like this. Basically just want to secure them so that they're not floating around. I could actually do a single tie wrap. I think that would be enough. How about something like this? That works for me. So if I take the back off that. Right, let's get it into something like I'm not trying to tighten the cables in the tie wrap. I just want to stop them shaking around. So if I put that here, and now I can pinch this up. There we go, perfect. Snip this off, and I hope you'll agree that's made a significant difference to the cabling, and we've plenty of room for expansion as well. Now all I need to do is attach the network cable, and what I'm going to do is I'll put the white on the SDA plugged in, and if I turn this over, I'll bring the cable out through this hole, and I'll label that for the customer, and hopefully now this will, there it goes, fit nice and secure. If I drop the fascia on, and the other thing I'll do it off camera, is I'll just put a couple of drops of PVA around this and secure it down. I'll use a few drops so that if I need to remove it I can, but I can always get to it by separating the clamshell side of the panel like so. And that is how I wire up panels. I'll put the screws in the edge and I'll call this done. That's just to locate the two hearts. Don't over tighten. So when the customer takes this out of the shipping container, plastic, they'll apply 12 volts to this, plug it in, and that's what they'll see. And I've numbered here the channels on the servo controller. A single servo controller will do everything, so this customer's going to have a spare one. And everything's looking just right. Put them on the main line. I think this is a shunting puzzle, so I'm looking forward to playing with it. Thanks for watching.